Hey everyone, so the holidays are upon us. So in honor of that, I wanted to create a special cocktail, an original cocktail that was inspired all by holiday flavors and traditional holiday cocktails. So today we're gonna be making a Ghost of Christmas. I'm Andy, this is Easy Tiki Drinks, and let's do this. Alright, now before I continue, I do have to say that this is probably the most complex cocktail I have ever done on this channel. There is a bit of prep work. However, I think that while it is complex and it uses some more advanced techniques, it's still relatively simple. Not only that, but it falls right in line with the holiday season. This cocktail can be batched very, very easily. And so for you guys at home that want to make a cocktail for your families, I highly recommend something like this. We're going to be using a couple different techniques. The first real technique that we're going to be using is an infusion followed by a milk punch wash. So if you're not familiar with those, don't worry, I'm gonna go over each and every single step. But if you don't feel comfortable doing any of this stuff, it's fine, don't worry about it. You could simply just even make this cocktail as is and still enjoy it. However, in order to batch it, you're definitely gonna wanna milk punch wash this thing. Today, we're gonna be going over a cocktail called the Ghost of Christmas. Now, this is an original cocktail of mine that I came up with in honor of the holiday season and for actually a holiday event that we're having at Wusong Road for our local Tiki Society. This is my contribution to the holiday menu. So before I get into kind of where the inspiration came from for this, where the name came from for this, let's talk about the individual ingredients for this cocktail, how to make them, how to batch this cocktail. I will sip on it and then I'll tell you where the inspiration came from. So in order to make the Ghost of Christmas, you are going to need a black tea infused moderately aged rum, allspice dram, cinnamon syrup, vanilla syrup, lime juice, and not pictured here, whole milk. Alright, so there you go. Those are the ingredients. Nothing super complicated. The first thing though is the black tea infused moderately aged rum. That's the first thing that kind of jumps out to you and goes, whoa, I don't know what that is or how to make it. Not a problem, let's go over it. First, you're going to need to pick a moderately aged rum. For mine, I'm using El Dorado 5. I find that the El Dorado and the Demerara rums have a nice kind of burnt sugar and caramel flavor that's going to pair really, really well with the black tea. And for my black tea, I'm using an English breakfast tea. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take 375 milliliters of your moderately aged rum and 2 tablespoons of your black tea. Put them into a mason jar, shake it up, and then you're going to let it sit and steep for about 30 minutes. After that, you're going to take your tea infused rum and strain it into a nice bottle. And then you have it. It's actually really simple, right? That's all it is. You're going to take a moderately aged rum. Again, I'm using a Demerara rum. You're going to combine it with some black tea. Again, I'm using English breakfast. You're going to let it steep for about 30 minutes, then you're going to filter it out. Done. That's all it is. Now, here comes the trickier part. This cocktail, what we're going to do is we're going to do what's called a milk punch wash. And essentially what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking our cocktail, combining it with whole milk, and the acids and alcohol in our cocktail are going to curdle the milk. What that's going to do is as those proteins bind and coagulate, they're going to take with them a lot of the astringent and tannin flavors that we get from cocktails, especially that tea. What this is going to do is it's going to round out and really meld all the flavors together. Now, why am I choosing to do this? Well, it's 2 reasons. One, I will tell you once I'm done making this cocktail, and the second is because it allows us to batch a cocktail. Milk punch wash cocktails are basically shelf stable for a very long time. They don't separate and there's no actual physical material in them. So what it allows you to do is actually keep it in a bottle, shelf stable for a very long time. And all you have to do is pour it over ice for a cocktail party and you're good to go. Let's see how we're going to milk punch wash this cocktail. Now, before I continue, I just want you to know that the recipe that I'm giving you, the measurements that I'm giving you are for a 4x batch. Essentially, this is for 4 separate cocktails. If you wanted to do a single, just cut everything by 4. If you wanted to double it for 8 people or 16, just multiply it out. It's super easy. But anyway, what we're gonna need is we're gonna need a mixing glass. In your mixing glass, you're gonna add 3.5 ounces or 105 milliliters of whole milk. You're then gonna set that aside. Grab a shaking tin, and in your shaking tin, you are going to add 4 ounces or 120 milliliters of lime juice. Next up, you're going to add 1 ounce or 30 milliliters of vanilla syrup. Follow that up by 1 ounce or 30 milliliters of cinnamon syrup. Next up, 1 ounce or 30 milliliters of Allspice Dram. And finally, you are going to need 8 ounces or 240 milliliters of our black tea infused moderately aged rum. We're gonna grab our mixing glass again with our milk in it, and we are gonna slowly pour our cocktail over our milk. Always do cocktail into the milk, not the other way around. From there, we're gonna let our mixing glass with our milk and our cocktail sit for 1 to 2 hours for our curd to separate. After that, we're gonna grab a glass, a funnel, and a rinsed double-walled coffee filter. We're gonna strain our cocktail into our glass through our coffee filter. We're gonna let that strain for about 2 minutes. Now you're gonna notice that the first pass is a little cloudy. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our final bottle, move our funnel and filter into the new final bottle, take our first filtration and pour it back over, top it off, and let the whole thing filter out for however long it takes to get through the entire batch. For me, it took approximately 4 hours to filter everything. And there you have it. That's our 4X batch of Ghost of Christmas. Now, we've got a cocktail, it's in a bottle. What do we do with it? Well, let's build our actual cocktail. So, grab your mixing glass again, and in your mixing glass, you're gonna add 3.5 ounces of our Ghost of Christmas. Fill your mixing glass up with cubed ice. And then we're gonna do a rock stir for about 30 seconds till it's chilled and diluted. Grab a double rocks glass and drop a large cube inside. And strain our cocktail over our large cube. For garnish, we're gonna go with a charred star anise. And there you have it, our Ghost of Christmas cocktail. Let's give it a try. Right off the nose, we're gonna get that star anise. So there's gonna be that black licorice. That just reminds me so much of the holidays. Now for the actual cocktail itself, it is so smooth and so rounded, and that's because of the milk punch wash. What that's doing is it's kind of melding all the flavors together and actually leaving behind whey protein, which is going to increase the mouthfeel of this cocktail. The actual flavor profile of this cocktail is balanced with a little bit of citrus and then the sweet from the vanilla, cinnamon, and allspice, which just scream holiday to me. From there, the black tea, the English breakfast black tea that I used with the El Dorado or the Demerara rum is accentuating those burnt caramel, molasses, and just those dark, rich notes, which pair super, super well with the holiday spices. So there you have it. That's my cocktail, Ghost of Christmas. Now, where did the inspiration come from? Well, I wanted to create a cocktail that would be reminiscent, but a new modern version of classic holiday cocktails. There is a classic holiday cocktail, which is a milk punch, which is essentially rum or bourbon, cognac, milk, sugar, and I think that's about it actually. So that immediately sparked my mind to be like, well, I don't want to do that, but what if I did a milk punch washed cocktail? And that's where the inspiration for this cocktail came from. Obviously the flavors and the ingredients are just super, super Christmassy and holiday flavored. And then by milk punch washing it, I am kind of harkening back to the old school milk punches, but in a modern way. Now, where did the name come from? Well, I really couldn't come up with a good name for this cocktail. So I did what every other content creator does. I went to Instagram and asked my followers, what would you call this cocktail? And well, I got some good ones. My buddy from Connecticut, Raymond, actually texted me and said, hey dude, I think you should call it Ghosts of Christmas. Ghost because it's clear, and Ghosts of Christmas because you're using 3 different spices that represent the 3 different spirits from A Christmas Carol. And I was like, boom, done. On the money, that is exactly what I was looking for. Not only that, but another one of my followers commented with him was the exact same name. So at that point, I knew that that's what I had to call this thing. Anyway, that's it for today's cocktail. This is my Ghost of Christmas. This is a wonderful cocktail for you to be able to batch for the holiday season. It'll last forever and it is super delicious. Plus, it looks super impressive, let's be honest. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, click that little notification bell, give this video a thumbs up, follow me over on Instagram and TikTok at EasyTikiDrinks. And for all of you that have been asking, I've finally done it. I actually started a Patreon. I know a bunch of you have been asking how else you can support the channel, so I did start a Patreon. I will leave a link down below. And for the Patreon, I am already starting to produce content that will be Patreon only. Right now, I've done a couple different behind the scenes shots, and I'm doing a couple of super simple syrups, like vanilla and cinnamon, and how to make them even more simple than they already are. Anyway, if you wanna go join that, I would definitely appreciate the support. I'll leave the link down below. Thanks again so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Happy holidays, and until next time, take it easy.